What's up, everybody? It's Gavin here with NBA Real Talk, and it's late at night. I haven't been able to sleep because something's on my mind. It's really been bugging me, and I want to talk about it, and that's the retirement of Vince Carter. And why is it bugging me, and why do I need to talk about it, is because there's two debates going on right now about Vince Carter that really have me confused. And don't get it twisted. I mean, fans should never fully agree. We're never going to keep the barbershop talk going if everybody just agrees on everything, but the two things that they're really bugging me is this debate over whether Vince Carter is a Hall of Famer and whether or not the Toronto Raptors should retire his jersey. Or rather, I think more of the debate about that is whether or not they should retire his jersey first. So we're going to get to that. So first off, Basketball Hall of Fame? Like, are you kidding me? If we were talking about another sport and another Hall of Fame, I think you could make more of a case for him not being there because Vince Carter definitely underachieved a little for his career. But we're talking about, like, the Basketball Hall of Fame. The standards are sort of infamously not high, and he more than meets the criterion. You're talking about undebated. It's not a debate. He's the greatest dunker in NBA history, right? Greatest in-game dunker at the very least. Best dunker in NBA history. He was a very impactful and top 10, top 15 player in the league for 8 to 10 years. I can't remember how many All-Star games he made, but it's got to be close to 10, maybe even more. But he made at least somewhere around 10 All-Star games. Basically, there's more than enough credentials to his game, that he definitely is Hall of Fame worthy. And, he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. If you want to argue, okay, maybe he shouldn't be first ballot and get in a weaker year, whatever. But you're talking about the longest tenured player, 25,000 total points. A guy who has basically been he's gone from being one of the best players in the league to just an off the bench role player at the end of his career. He's just had such a unique impact on the game that I think, how can you just sort of ignore that simply based on the fact that, yeah, he probably could have done a little bit better. He probably should have at least had a finals appearance under his belt. But all that being said, his impact on the game, like I said, through his dunking, through his style of play, and through his significance as a player in the league for many years throughout the 2000s. The guy who played in 4 different decades. He played in 4 different decades. Do you understand? Vince Carter's retiring this year, and there are players in the league who were born after he was drafted. Okay? His impact on the game is it's pretty legendary, to be honest. Let's just leave it at that. Now, the second part. More interesting debate. Toronto Raptors, should they retire his jersey? Yes, absolutely. And here's why they should retire his jersey. And quite simply put, it's because we were nothing before Vince came along. The Raptors were nothing. They were a nobody team. You could make a legitimate argument that it's tough to say whether or not the Raptors would have even stayed in Canada if Vince Carter had never come along. I still remember that lockout 90, I believe it was the 99 season that was locked out. I still remember because they played about half the games, maybe just over half, and Toronto finished around 500 that year, which, put it this way, in a normal 82-game season, for the years leading up to that, we just win like 20 games every year. We were not significant. Vince Carter came along and made Toronto a relevant team. He put us on the map, and I remember at the end of that lockout season where we just missed the playoffs, or maybe there's a couple games left and we knew we weren't going to make them. I remember him getting on a microphone and telling the crowd, we are going to make the playoffs next year. Now, for an expansion team that hadn't been around that long and had seen, forget no success, not even a semblance of hope for the first 5-6 years we were in the league, for a player to come along and do that was significant. Isn't the word? It was stupendous. It was astounding. It was kind of like, what? This guy's promising playoffs to us? And guess what? We made them. Now, you're talking about the guy who is the best dunker in NBA history, and we're talking about the guy who really made the dunk contest relevant again. Frankly, it was not really relevant for a few years leading up to his dunk contest, and it might not even been that relevant for a few years after his dunk contest, but his dunk contest to this day is the single greatest dunk contest performance in NBA history. We've seen dozens and dozens of dunks since that are better than the dunks he performed, but we never saw a more flawless performance with more amazing dunks that we had never seen before. When he walked up on that first dunk casually, couple dribbles, did the reverse 360 windmill and threw it down. If you were watching back then in the year 2000, your jaw was literally on the floor. Everybody in the building could not. You gotta understand. Everyone was looking forward to this dunk contest. Everyone knew Vince Carter was gonna just win the thing and show us things we'd never seen before. And even with that expectation, he exceeded it by leaps and bounds. We went into this contest looking forward to what he was gonna do, and we still couldn't believe what we saw. We went into this contest thinking we're gonna see some things we've never seen before, and we still couldn't believe what we were seeing. When he put his elbow in the rim, no, do you understand? He did something in a dunk contest with a million eyes and a million cameras on him, and when he first did it, everyone didn't actually understand what he had. They knew it was great, but they're like, wait a second. It's like if you saw a pig flying, you would know it's amazing, but you'd be like, did I just see that? He did things you literally did not think could happen. That's what Vince Carter did when he was dunking the basketball. And I get it, okay? I get it. Fans get butthurt over a lot of stuff. That's what makes fans passionate. That's what makes fans a grave spending consumer of sports content. But despite the fact that Vince Carter left us very unceremoniously, you have to keep in mind, not only did he make us relevant, he did initially sign with the Raptors. He re-signed with us. He wanted to stay. Why did he leave? Because they weren't putting a good team around him. I don't know if anyone remembers, but our management back in the days of Vince Carter was horrific. Just look at the trade we made to get. He was underperforming. His value had tanked. But if you saw the trade we got for him, don't get me wrong. As much as he kind of was a black sheep right before he left town, okay. As much as that is the case, I can't help but think that part of the reason people hate Vince Carter so much is that we got such a garbage return for him. If we had traded Vince Carter and whoever we got back, or the draft pick that we used to pick, I don't know, someone useless, had turned out to be someone good, we probably wouldn't be as bitter towards him as we are. It's because he kind of left us hanging. He kind of left us in the dust. But let's not forget, we didn't provide the right team around him. It's not like he hated Toronto and didn't want to stay. It's just after a few years and he was getting injured all the time, it was probably just starting to leave a bad taste in his mouth. And he was probably just like, either like build a team around me or let me go. And that's kind of what happened. And we shouldn't let that get in the way of recognizing the fact that not only did he have a significant impact on the Raptors as a team, not only can you honestly trace this championship we won in 2019 all the way back to his influence and his impact back in the late 90s and early 2000s, but on top of all that, you can honestly say that Canadian basketball has exploded in immeasurable amounts. When Vince Carter first came in the league, and he's not even Canadian, but when he was first on the Raptors, I can recall there was no more than 5. I don't think there was even 5. I can think of Steve Nash. I think Todd McCullough was in the league at the time. Rick Fox was kind of Canadian. And to be honest, those are the only guys. Oh, Jamal McGlure might have been in the league at that time. That's the only 4 names, even around that time, I can think of. Now we're in the age where Canadian players have been number 1 overall draft picks. Do you understand? Does anyone even understand how significant that is? Basketball in Canada weren't even a thing. Even once we had teams in Canada, like the Grizzlies and the Raptors, basketball in Canada was not like some kind of synonymous thing, despite the fact that it's a Canadian game created by a Canadian. And then Vince Carter came along, and not only did, as I repeat myself here, not only did he make Toronto relevant, but he made Toronto notable. What I mean by notable is, think of Kevin Durant, a guy who's going to go down as probably one of the top 10 greatest players to ever play this game, possibly the greatest scorer in the history of this game. He lived in the States. His favorite team growing up was the Toronto Raptors. Why? Because of Vince Carter being his favorite player. Why was Vince Carter his favorite player? Because Vince Carter was astounding, throwing down these crazy he's the greatest in-game dunker of all time. I know I already said that, but I don't think it can be repeated enough or sort of emphasized enough. Vince Carter has thrown down dunks in games 20 years ago that you can look up on YouTube right now, and you will never see a dunk like that in the NBA today. You'll not, whether it's Blake Griffin high flying or any of these different high flying players we have today, John Morant, all these new guys we have who can just soar above the rim, these skyscrapers. They don't even compare to the savage dunks Vince Carter used to throw down. He's done things in game that I don't think will ever be done again. And Toronto should not wait until Kyle Lowry retires, like 5-10 years from now, to retire Vince's jersey. As soon as they get the chance next season, as soon as they can get like some fans in the stands or whatever the case is, maybe there won't be fans in the stands for another year, but as soon as they can get his jersey up in the rafters, it belongs up there. I believe this shouldn't be controversial. I'm not mad that it is, but whatever you guys out there who think his jersey shouldn't be retired, whatever you guys out there are smoking, hook it up, because you obviously got the best stuff around. So anyways, this has been Gavin, NBA Real Talk. That's my opinion on the situation. Vince Carter, first ballot Hall of Famer, first guy up in the rafters in Toronto, and I'm out, signing out. I'll catch you guys next time.